What's happening, everybody? Hope everyone has a good Saturday today. Chapter 14 Cornelius Fudge, who's also, Minister for Magic. Harry, Ron, and Hermione had always known that Hagrid had an unfortunate liking for large and monstrous creatures. During their first year at Hogwarts, he had tried to raise a dragon in his little wooden house. And it would be a long time before they forgot the giant three-headed dog he'd christened Fluffy. And if, as a boy, Hagrid had heard that a monster was hidden somewhere in the castle, he was sure he'd have gone to any lengths for a glimpse of it. He probably thought it was a shame that the monster had been cooped up so long. He thought it deserved a chance to stretch its many legs. Harry could just imagine the 13-year-old Hagrid trying to fit a leash and collar on it, but he was equally certain that Hagrid would never have meant to kill anybody. Whatever. Harry half wished he hadn't found out how to work Riddle's dagger. Again and again, Ron and Hermione made him recount what he'd seen, until he was heartily sick of telling them, sick of the long, circular conversations that followed. Riddle might have got the wrong person, said Hermione. Maybe it's some other monster that's attacking people. How many monsters do you think this place can hold? Ron asked dully. We always knew Hagrid had been expelled, said Harry miserably. And the attacks must have stopped after Hagrid was kicked out. Otherwise, Riddle wouldn't have gotten his award. Ron tried a different tack. Riddle does sound like pussy. Who asked him to squeal on Hagrid anyway? But the monster killed somebody, Ron, said Hermione. And Riddle was going back to some muggle orphanage if they closed, said Harry. I don't blame him for wanting to stay here. You met Hagrid on Nocturne Abbey, didn't you, Harry? He was buying a flesh-eating slug repellent, said Harry quickly. The three of them paused. Three of them fell silent. After a long pause, Hermione voiced the naughtiest question of all in a hesitant voice. Now, when I say it naughtiest, Knotttiest. That's how it's spelled. Do you think we should go and ask Hagrid about it all? It won't be a cheerful visit, said Ron. Hello, Hagrid. Tell us, have you been setting anything about Harry Lucy in our castle lately? And in the films, I love it how Hagrid comes up behind him and says, "Thank you, Harry. Wouldn't be talking about me now, would you?" Like I said, sometimes the movies have some good stuff too. In the end, they decided that they would not say anything to Hagrid unless there was another attack. And as more and more days went by with no whisper from the disembodied voice, they became hopeful that they would never need to talk to him about why he had been expelled. It was now nearly 4 months since Justin nearly had his neck had been petrified. Nearly everybody seemed to think the attacker, whoever it was, had retired for good. Peeves had finally gotten bored of his "Oh, Papa, you water" song. Ernie Macmillan asked Harry quite politely to pass like a leaping toadstools in her biology one day. And in March, several of the mandrakes threw a loud and raucous party in the greenhouse too. This made Professor Sprout very happy. The moment they start trying to move into each other's spots, we'll know they're fully mature, she told Harry. Then we'll be able to revive those poor people in the hospital and the second years were given something neat to think about during their Easter holidays. The time had come to choose their subject for third year. a matter that Hermione at least took very seriously. It could affect the whole future, she said. She told Harry and Ron as they pored over lists of new subjects, marking their checks. I just want to get potions. We can't, said Harry Ron gloomily. We keep our own subjects. What else did defense against the dark arts? But that's very important, said Hermione shocked. Not the way it looked like teaching, is it? Said Ron. I haven't heard anything from him except not to set pixies list. Neville Longbottom had been sent letters from all the witches and wizards in his family, all giving him different advice on what to choose. Confused and worried, he sat reading the subjects list with his tongue poking out, asking people whether they thought arithmetic had more difficulty than the study of ancient ruins. Being Thomas, who, like Harry, had grown up with muggles rather, ended up closing his eyes and jabbing his wand at the list, then picking the subjects he landed on. They're kind of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I like that. Hermione took nobody's advice, was signed up for everything. And that's why she gets a time turning expert. Check. Harry smiled grimly to himself at the thought of what Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia would say. He tried to discuss his career in wizardry with them. Not that he didn't give any guidance. Percy was eager to share his experience. Depends where you want to go, Harry, he said. It's never too early to think about the future, so I'd recommend divination. People say Muggle studies is a soft option, but I think wizards should have a thorough understanding of the non-magical community, particularly if they're thinking of working in close contact with them. Look at my father. He has to deal with Muggles business all the time. Hmm. My brother Charlie was always more of an outdoor type, so he went for care of magical creatures. Play to your strengths, Harry. Well, the only thing Harry felt he was really good at was Quidditch. In the end, chose to say he subject was wrong. You know, if he was lousy at them, at least he'd have someone friendly to help him. Gryffindor's next Quidditch match will be against Hufflepuff. Wood was insistent on team practices every night after dinner, so that Harry barely had any time for anything with Quidditch and homework. However, the training sessions were getting better, or at least drier. Much appreciated. Ooh, fun. Ooh, so sounds like a good idea, let me see. But his cheerful mood didn't last long. At the top of the store, at the top of the stairs, to the dormitory, he met Neville Longbottom, who was looking frantic. Had I don't know who did it. I just found. Watching Harry fearfully, Neville pushed open the door. The contents of Harry's trunk had been thrown everywhere. His cloak lay ripped on the floor. At least it wasn't his invisibility cloak. I'd been pissed. The bedclothes had been pulled off his four-post skirt, and the drawer had been pulled out of his bedside cabinet, the contents strewn over his mattress. Harry walked over to the bed, open-mouthed, treating on a few loose pages of Travel's Patrols. As he and Neville pulled the blankets back onto his bed, Ron, Dean, and Seamus came in. Dean swore loudly. What happened, Harry? No idea, said Harry. But Ron was examining Harry's robes. All the pockets were hanging out. Hmm. Someone's been looking for something, said Ron. They're missing. Harry started to pick up all the things and throw them into his trunk. It was only as he threw the last of Lockhart's book back into him that he realized what wasn't there. The little star was gone. He said in an undertone to Ron. What? Harry jerked his head toward the dormitory door, and Ron followed him out. They hurried toward the Gryffindor room, common room, which was half empty, enjoyed Hermione. He was sitting alone, reading a book called Ancient Runes, Made Easy. Hermione looked aghast at the news. But only a Gryffindor could have stolen. Nobody else knows our password. Exactly, said Harry. They woke the next day to brilliant sunshine and a light, refreshing breeze. Perfect Quidditch conditions, said Wood enthusiastically. The Gryffindor table, floating at the team's place with scrambled eggs. Harry, look up there. You need a decent breakfast? Harry had been staring down the packed Gryffindor table, wondering if the new owner of Riddle's diary was right in front of his eyes. Hermione had been urging him to report the robbery, but Harry didn't like the idea. He'd have to tell the teacher about the diary. How many people knew why Hagrid had been expelled 50 years ago? He didn't want to be the one who brought all of it up again. So he left the Great Hall with Ron and Hermione to go to collect his Quidditch rings. Another very serious word was added to Harry's growing list. He had just stepped, he had just set foot on the marble staircase when he heard it yet again. Kill this time. Let me rip. Tear. He shouted aloud, and Ron Hermione jumped away from him. Ron, the voice, said Harry, knocking over his shoulder. I just heard it again, didn't you? Oh, yeah, really. Really good this kind of. Ron shook his head, wide-eyed. Hermione, however, clapped his hand to her forehead. Hello. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm meant to be repeating the book. Hey, I think I just understand something. I've got to need go to the library. She sprinted away up the stairs. What does she understand? Said Harry distractedly, still looking around, trying to tell where the voice had come from. You knows more than I do, said Ron, shaking his head. Well, she got to go to the library. That's what Hermione does, said Ron, shrugging. When in doubt, go to the library. Harry stood, irresolute, trying to catch the voice again. The people were now emerging from the great hall behind them, talking loudly, exiting through the front doors on their way to the Quidditch pitch. Better get moving, said Ron. It's near 11. The match. Harry raced up to the Gryffindor common room. Harry raced up to Gryffindor Tower, collected his Nimbus 2000, and joined the large crowd swarming across the grounds. But his mind was still in the castle on his bodiless voice. And as he pulled on his strut robes in his locker, his only comfort was that everyone was now outside to watch the game. The teams walked onto the field to tumultuous applause. Oliver Wood took off for a warm play all around the goalposts. Madam Hoops released the balls. The Hufflepuffs, who played in the canary yellow, were standing in a huddle, having a last-minute discussion of tactics. Harry was mounting his broom when Professor McGonagall came half marching, half running across the pitch, carrying an enormous purple megaphone. Harry's heart dropped like a stone. This match, this match has been cancelled, Professor McGonagall called through the megaphone, addressing the packed stadium. There were boos and shouts. Oliver Wood, looking devastated, landed and ran toward Professor McGonagall without getting off his broomstick. But Professor, he shouted, we've got to play the club, Gryffindor. Hmm? Professor McGonagall ignored him and continued to shout through the megaphone. All students are to make their way back to the house common rooms, where the heads of houses will give them further instructions, information, as quickly as you can, please. And then she lowered the megaphone and beckoned Harry over to her. Potter, I think you'd better come with me. Wondering how she could possibly suspect him this time, Harry saw Ron detach himself from the complaining crowd and came running up to them as they set off for the castle. Harry, surprised, Professor McGonagall didn't object. Yes, perhaps you'd better come too, Weasley. Some of the students swarming them around were grumbling about the match being cancelled. Others looked worried. Harry and Ron followed Professor McGonagall into the school and up the marble staircase. But they weren't taken to anybody's office this time. This will be a bit of a shock, said Professor McGonagall in a surprisingly gentle voice as they approached the infirmary. There has been another attack. Another double attack? Harry's insides did a horrible somersault. Professor McGonagall pushed the door open, and he and Ron entered. Madame Pomfrey was bending over a sixth-year girl with long, curly hair. Harry recognized her as the Slytherin, as a Ravenclaw. They'd accidentally asked for directions to the Slytherin common room. And on the bed next to her was Hermione. Ron groaned. All right, cool. So I won't have to do Hermione's voice for a while. I'll take some strain off my voice. Hermione lay utterly still, her eyes open and glassy. David found me in the library, said Professor McGonagall. I don't suppose either of you could explain this. He was on the floor next to them. She was holding up a small circular mirror. Harry and Ron shook their heads, both staring at Hermione. I would escort you back to Gryffindor Tower, said Professor McGonagall heavily. I need to address the students in any case. Students will return to the house common rooms by 6 o'clock in the evening. No student is to leave the dormitories after that time. You will be escorted to each lesson by a teacher. No student is to use the bathroom unaccompanied by a teacher. All further Quidditch training and matches are to be postponed. There will be no more evening activities. The Gryffindors packed inside the common room and listened. Professor McGonagall sat in silence. She rolled up the parchment from which she had been reading and said in a somewhat choked voice, I need hardly add that I had already been so distressed. It is likely that the school will be closed unless the culprit behind the attacks is caught. I would urge anyone who thinks they might know something about them to come forward. She climbed somewhat awkwardly out of the portrait hole, and the Gryffindors began talking immediately. That's 2 Gryffindors down, not counting the Gryffindor ghost, 1 Ravenclaw, and 1 Hufflepuff, said the Weasley twins from Lee Jordan, counting on his fingers. Haven't any of the teachers noticed that the Slytherins are all safe? Isn't it all obvious? All the stuff's coming from the Slytherin. The heir of Slytherin, the monster of Slytherin. Why don't you just chuck all the Slytherins out? Now, personally, I'm with you there, Dean. They should. All Slytherins are pieces of crap. Well, I mean, not all of them. There's some good ones, like Slughorn, but eventually, and maybe Snape, if you consider him somewhat good. He's a bit of a prick, but he's still kind of good. Lee Jordan, I'm sorry. Percy Weasley was sitting in the chair behind her. But for once, he didn't seem to make his views heard. He was looking pale and stunned. Percy's in shock, George told Harry quietly. That Ravenclaw girl, not the Clearwater, she's a prefect. I don't think he thought the monster dare attack a prefect. But Harry was only half listening. He didn't seem to be able to get rid of the picture from Hermione, lying on the hospital bed as though carved out of stone. And if the culprit wasn't caught soon, he was looking at a lifetime back at the Dursleys. Tom Riddle had turned Haggard in because he was faced with the prospect of an orphanage if the school was closed. Harry now knew exactly how he had felt. "What are we going to do?" said Ron quietly near the ear. "Do you think they suspect Hagrid?" "We've got to go and talk to him," said Harry, making up his mind. "I can't believe it's him this time. But if he set the monster loose last time, they'll know how to get into the Chamber of Secrets, and that's a start." The McGonagall said, we've got to stay in the hotel once it went across." "I think," said Harry, more quietly still, "it's time to get my dad's old cloak out again." "Oh, yeah, the good old invisibility cloak." Harry had inherited just one thing from his father: a long and silvery invisibility cloak. It was their only chance of sneaking out of school to visit Hagrid without anyone knowing about it. They went to bed at the usual time, waited until Neville, being Seamus, had stopped discussing the chamber secrets and finally fallen asleep. Then got up, dressed again, and threw the cloak over themselves. The journey through the dark, deserted castle quarters wasn't enjoyable. Harry, who had wandered the castle at night several times before, had never seen it so crowded after sunset. Teachers, prefects, and ghosts were marching the corridors in pairs, staring around for any unusual activity. Their invisibility cloak didn't stop them from making any noise. And there was a particularly tense moment when when Ron stubbed his toe only yards from the spot where Snape and stood standing guard. Thankfully, Snape sneezed at almost exactly the moment Ron saw it. It was with relief that they reached the front doors and eased them open. It was a clear, starry night. They hurried toward the lit windows of Hagrid's hut and pulled off the cloak only when they were right out front of his door. Seconds after they knocked, Hagrid flung it open. They found themselves face to face with him aiming a crossbow at them. Fang the boarhound barked loudly behind him. "Oh," he said, lowering the weapon, staring at them. "What are you two doing here?" "What's that for?" said Harry, pointing at the crossbow as they stepped inside. "Nothing, nothing," muttered Hagrid. "I've been expecting. Doesn't matter. Sit down. I'll make you tea." He hardly seemed to know what he was doing. He nearly extinguished the fire, spilling water from the kettle on it, and smashed a teapot with a nervous jerk of his massive hand. "Are you okay, Hagrid?" said Harry. "Did you hear about Hermione?" "Oh, I heard all right." "Oh, I heard all right," said Hagrid, slight break in his voice. He kept glancing nervously at the windows. He poured them both large mugs of boiling water. He had forgotten to add tea bags. He was just putting a slab of fruitcake on the plate when there was a loud knock on the door. Hagrid dropped the fruitcake. Harry and Ron exchanged panic-stricken looks, then threw the invisibility cloak back over themselves and retreated into a corner. Hagrid checked that they were hidden, seized his crossbow, and flung open his door once more. "Good evening, Hagrid." It was Dumbledore. He entered, looking deadly serious, and was followed by a second, very odd-looking man. The stranger had rumpled gray hair and an anxious expression, and was wearing a strange mixture of clothes: a pinstripe suit, a long tie, a scarlet tie, a long black coat, oh, a long black coat, and pointed purple boots. Under his arm, he carried a lime green bowler, which is pretty much like a fedora. Start boss, Ron breathed. When you use fortune, the minister of magic. Great Owen on Pargate, shut up. Hagrid had gone pale and sweaty. He dropped into one of his chairs and looked from Dumbledore to Cornelius Fudge. Bad business, Hagrid, said Fudge in rather quick tones. Very bad business. Had to come before attacks on Motherborns. Things have gone far enough. Ministers got to act. I never, I never, said Hagrid, looking imploringly at Dumbledore. You know I never. Professor Dumbledore, sir. I want to understand Cornelius. That Hagrid has my full confidence, said Dumbledore, frowning at Fudge. Look, Albus, said Fudge uncomfortably. Hagrid's records at Jefferson. Ministry's got to do something. School governors have been in touch. Yet again, Cornelius, I tell you, that taking Hagrid away will not help in the slightest, said Dumbledore. His blue eyes were full of fire that Harry had never seen before. Look at it from my point of view, said Fudge, fidgeting with his forward. I'm under a lot of pressure. Got to be doing something. It turns out it wasn't Hagrid. They'll be back in memoir said. I've got to take him. Got to. Wouldn't be doing my duty. Take me? Said Hagrid. Take me where? For a short stretch only, said Fudge, not meeting Hagrid's eyes. Not a punishment, Hagrid. More precaution. If someone else is caught, you'll be out with a full apology. Not Azkaban, croaked Hagrid. Before Fudge could answer, there was another loud rap on the door. Dumbledore answered it. It was Harry's turn for an elbow in the ribs. He let out an audible gasp. Mr. Lucius Malfoy strode into Hagrid's hut, swathed in a long black traveling cloak, smiling a cold and satisfied smile. Fang started to growl. Already here, Fudge, he said briefly. Good, good. What are you doing here? Said Hagrid furiously. Get out of my house. But dear man, please believe. No pleasure at all being inside your call this a house? Said Lucius Malfoy, sneering as he looked around the small cabin. I simply called it to school and was told that the headmaster was here. Yeah, what exactly did you want with me, Lucius? Said Dumbledore. He spoke politely. The fire was still blazing in his blue eyes. Dreadful thing, Dumbledore, said Malfoy lazily, taking out a long roll of parchment. But the governess feels time for you to step aside. This is an order of suspension. You'll find all 12 signatures on it. I'm afraid we feel you're losing your touch. How many attacks have there been now? 2 more this afternoon, wasn't there? At this rate, there'll be no more little boys left at Hogwarts. And we all know what an awful loss that would be to the school. Oh, now, see here, Lucius, said Fudge, looking alarmed. Dumbledore suspended? No, no. Last thing we want just now. The appointment or suspension of the headmaster is a matter for the governors, Fudge. And as Dumbledore has failed to stop these attacks, Hey, welcome in. Yeah, we just joined. See here, mouthful. Dumbledore can't make them stop, said Fudge. His upper lip was sweating now. I mean to say, you can. That remains to be seen, said Mr. Malfoy with a nasty smile. But as all 12 of us have voted, Hagrid leapt to his feet, his shaggy black beard grazing the ceiling. And how many did you have to threaten and blackmail before they agreed, Malfoy? Eh? He roared. Dear, you know that temper will lead you into trouble one of these days, Hagrid, said Mr. Malfoy. I would advise you not to shut at the Aspirin guards like that. They won't like it at all. You can't take Dumbledore, yelled Hagrid, making Fang the Bloodlord cower in one from his basket. Take him away, and the Muggleborns won't stand a chance. There'll be killings next. Calm yourself, Hagrid, said Dumbledore sharply. He looked at Lucius Malfoy. If the governor wants my removal, Lucius, I shall of course step aside. But no, growled Hagrid. Dumbledore had not taken his bright blue eye off Lucius Malfoy's cold grey one. However, said Dumbledore, speaking very slowly and clearly, so that none of them can miss a word, you'll find that I only truly have left the school when none here are loyal to me. You will also find that help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. For a second, Harry was almost sure Dumbledore's eyes flickered toward the corner where he and Ron stood hidden. Admirable sentiments, said Malfoy, bowing. We shall all miss your highly individual way of running things, Albus, and one hopes that your successor will manage with any act. Killings. He strode to the cabin door, opened it, and bowed. Dumbledore out. Fudge filled him with his power, waiting for Hagrid to go ahead out of him. But Hagrid stood his ground, took a deep breath, and said carefully, if anyone wants to find out some stuff, all they have to do is follow the spiders. That'll lead them right. That's all I'm saying. Fudge stared at him in amazement. All right, I'm coming, said Hagrid, pulling on his moleskin overcoat. But as he was about to follow Fudge through the door, he stopped him and said loudly, and someone only to 30 feet fine while I'm away. The door banged shut and Ron pulled off the invisibility cloak. We're in trouble now, he said hoarsely. No, Dumbledore. They might as well close the school tonight. There'll be enough talking a day with him gone. Fang started howling, scratching and closed doors. Alright, chapter 15, Aragon. Alright, just give me 1 minute, chat. What up, Soft? I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I gotta use the bathroom. And I shall be right. I gotta refill my ice. Now that you mumbo jumbo, be right back, chat. I use the bathroom too. Alright, and I have returned. Had to go pee. After reading for that long, definitely had to pee. Ah, shit. Man, my air AC is all full of water. Oh well. It's definitely gonna flood a little bit. It is what it is. Alright, so this chapter right here, chapter 15, Aragog, is what made me really, really not like spiders. I mean, I like Charlotte from Charlotte's Web. Right, chapter 15, Aragog. Ooh, I hated this chapter in the books and I hated it in the movies too. It's just so creepy of a chapter, I'm just saying. Like, ooh. Summer was creeping over the grounds around the castle. Sky and lake alike turned periwinkle blue, and flowers large as cabbages burst into bloom in the greenhouses. But with no Hagrid visible from the castle windows, striding the grounds with Fang at his heels, the scene didn't look right to Harry. No better, in fact, than the inside of the castle, where things were so horribly wrong. Harry and Ron had tried to visit Hermione, but visitors were now barred from the hospital. We're taking no more chances, Madame Pomfrey told them severely through a crack in the infirmary door. No, I'm sorry. There's every chance the attacker might come back to finish this before off. With Dumbledore gone, fear had spread as never before, so that the sun warming the castle walls outside seemed to stop at the mullioned windows. Mullioned windows? I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. Mullioned windows. Mullioned. Mm. They were barely a face to be seen in the school. They didn't look worried and tense. And any laughter that rang through the corridors chimed shrill and unnatural and was quickly stifled. Harry constantly repeated Dumbledore's final words to himself. I would only truly have left the school when none here loyal to me, and help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. But what good were those words? Who exactly were they supposed to ask for help, when everyone was just as confused and scared as they were? Hagrid's hint about the spiders was far easier to understand. Trouble was, there didn't seem to be a single spider left in the castle to follow. Harry looked everywhere he went, helped, rather reluctantly, by Ron. They were hampered, of course, by the fact that they weren't really allowed to wander off on their own. They had to move around the castle in a pack of other Gryffindors. Most of their fellow students, Gryffindor students, seemed glad that they were being shepherded from class to class by teachers, but Harry found it very irksome. One person, however, seemed to be thoroughly enjoying the atmosphere of horror and suspicion. Terror and suspicion, rather. Draco Malfoy was strutting around the school as though he had just been appointed head boy. Harry didn't realize what he was so pleased about until the potions left with him about 2 weeks after Dumbledore and Harry left. When, sitting right behind Malfoy, Harry overheard him gloating to Crabbe Royal. I always thought Father might be the one who got rid of Dumbledore, he said, not troubling to keep his voice down. I told you he thinks Dumbledore's the worst headmaster school's ever had. Maybe we'll get a decent headmaster now. Someone who won't want the chamber of secrets closed. Gallic won't last long. She's only filling in. Snake swept past Harry, making no comment about Hermione's NPC and intelligence. Sir, said Malfoy loudly, sir, why don't you apply for the headmaster's job? No, Malfoy, said Snape, though he couldn't suppress a thin smile. Professor Dumbledore has only been suspended by the governors. I dare say he'll be back with us soon enough. Yeah, right, said Malfoy, smirking. I expect you'd have fathers well, sir, if you apply for a job. I tell father you are the best teacher here, sir. Snape smirked as he slipped off through the dungeon. Fortunately, not spotting Seamus Finnegan, who was pretending to vomit in his cauldron. I'm quite surprised the mudbloods haven't all packed their bags by now, Malfoy went on. Bet you 5 galleons the next dies. Pity it wasn't Granger. The bell rang at that moment, which was lucky. At Malfoy's last words, Ron had leapt off his stool and in the scramble to collect bags and books. His attempts to reach Malfoy unnoticed. Let me at him! Ron grabbed him at Harry and Dean, hung on to his arms. I don't care. Don't need my warrant. I'm going to kill him with all 5 hands. Yeah, I love Ron. What up, Ninja? Welcome in, welcome in. Hurry up, hurry up. I've got to take you all to her parlor area, or Snape over across his heads. And off they march with Ron, Harry, and Dean, bringing up the rear. Ron still trying to get loose. It was only safe to let him go when Snape had seen them out of the castle, and they were making their way across the vegetable patch toward the greenhouses. The herbology class was very subdued. There were now 2 missing from their number, Justin and Hermione. The herbology class was very subdued. Professor Sprout set them all to work pruning the Abyssinian shrivelfigs. Don't know what the hell those are. Harry went to tip an armful of withered stalks onto the compost heap and found himself face to face with Ernie Macmillan. Ernie took a deep breath and said, very formally, I just want to say, Harry, I'm sorry I ever suspected you. I know you'd never attack Hermione Granger, and I apologize for all the stuff I said. We're all on the same boat now, and, well, he held out a pudgy hand, and Harry shook it. Should have punched him in the face while he was at it. But Ernie and his friend Hannah came to work with the same shriveled thing as Harry and Ron. That Draco Malfoy character, said Ernie, breaking off dead twigs. He seems so very pleased about all this, doesn't he? You know, I think he might be Slytherin's heir. That's very clever of you, said Ron. You didn't seem to have forgiven Ernie as readily as Harry. Do you think it's Malfoy, Harry? No, said Harry so firmly that Ernie and Hannah stared. A second later, Harry spotted something. Several large spiders were scuttling over the ground onto the other side of the glass, moving in an unnaturally straight line, as they had taken the shortest route to a prearranged meeting. Harry hit Ron over the hand with his spring shoes. Ouch! What are you? Harry pointed out the spiders, following the progress with his eyes screwed up against the sun. Oh, yeah, said Ron, trying and failing to look pleased. But we can't follow them now. Ernie and Hannah were listening curiously. Harry's eyes narrowed as he focused on the spiders. Their pursuit, their fixed course, there could be no doubt where they would end up. Looks like they're heading for the Forbidden Forest. And Ron looked even unhappier about that. At the end of the lesson, Professor Sprout escorted the class to their Defense Against the Dark Arts lesson. Harry and Ron lagged behind the others so they could talk out of earshot. "We'll have to use the invisibility cloak again," Harry told Ron. "We take flying with us. He was used to going into the forest with Hagrid. He might be able to help." "Right," said Ron. He was swirling his wand nervously in his fingers. Aren't there supposed to be werewolves in the forest?" he added, as they took their usual places at the back of Lockhart's classroom. Preferring not to answer that question, Harry said, "There are good things in there, too. Centaurs are alright. And the unicorns." Ron had never been into the Forbidden Forest before. Yeah, that's one of the things the movie fucked up. Harry had entered it only once and had hoped to never do so again. Lockhart bounded into the room in class and stared at him. Every other teacher in the place was looking grimmer than usual. Lockhart appeared nothing but sort of flamboyant. "Come now," he cried, "why y'all the long faces?" People swapped exasperated looks, but nobody answered. "Don't you people realize," speaking slowly, as though they're all a bit dim, "the danger has passed. The culprit has been taken away." "Says who?" said Dean Thomas loudly. "My dear young man, the Minister of Magic wouldn't have taken Hagrid if he hadn't been 100% sure that he was guilty," said Lockhart. And he turned to someone to explain what that 1 and 1 made two. "Oh, yes, he would," said Ron loudly, even more louder than Dean. "I've reckoned with myself. I might know a touch more about Hagrid's rules than you do, Mr. Weasley," said Lockhart in a self-satisfied tone. Ron started to say that he didn't think so, somehow, but stopped in mid-sentence when Harry kicked him hard under the desk. "What there, remember?" But Lockhart's disgusting cheeriness, the sense that he had known all along that Hagrid was no good, his confidence that the whole business was now at an end, irritated Harry so much that he yearned to throw Gadding of Ghouls right in Lockhart's stupid face. Instead, he contented himself, strongly a nose Ron. "Let's do it tonight." Ron read the message, swallowed hard, and looked sideways at the empty seat usually filled by Hermione. The sight seemed to stiffen his resolve, and he nodded. The Gryffindor common room was always very crowded these days, because from 6 onward, the Gryffindors had nowhere else to go. They also had plenty to talk about. The result of the common room often didn't empty out until past midnight. Harry went to go get his billy cloak out of his trunk right after dinner, and spent the evening sitting on it, waiting for the room to clear. Fred and George found cheering along to free games of Exploding Snap. Ginny watched them very subdued, and Hermione was usually chair. Harry and Ron kept losing on purpose, trying to finish the games quickly. But even so, it was well past midnight, and Fred, George, and Ginny finally went to bed. Harry and Ron waited for the distant sounds of the 2 dormitory doors closing before seizing his cloak, throwing it over themselves, and climbing through the portrait hall. There was another difficult journey through the castle, dodging all the teachers. At last, they reached the entrance hall, slid back to lock on the oak front doors, squeezed between them, trying to stop any creaking, stepped out into the moonlit grounds. "Of course," said Ron, abruptly as they strode across the black grass, "we might get to the forest and find there's nothing to follow. Those spiders might not have been going there at all." I know it looked like they were moving in that sort of general direction, but his voice trailed away, hopefully. They reached Hagrid's house, sad and sorry looking with its blank windows. When Harry pushed the door open, Fang went mad with joy at the sight of him. Worried he might wake everyone at the castle with his deep booming barks, they hastily fed him chicken toffee from a tin on the mantelpiece, which glued his teeth together. Harry left the invisibility cloak on Hagrid's table. There would be no need for it in the pitch dark forest. I'm gonna check this is. Alright, just about another 12 pages to go. Yeah, alright. About another 10 pages to go, sorry. No, I'm fine. We're going for a walk, said Harry, patting his leg, and then bounded happily out of the house behind them. Dashed to the edge of the forest and lifted his leg against a large sycamore tree. Harry took out his wand and murmured, Lumos, and a tiny light appeared at the end of it, just enough to let them watch it pass for signs of spiders. Keep thinking, said on. I don't mind too, probably blow up or something. Harry tapped Ron on the shoulder, pointing at the grass. Two solitary spiders were hurrying away from the wand light into the shade of the trees. Okay, Ron sighed, as though resigned to the worst. I'm ready. Let's go. So, with Fang scampering around them, sniffling tree roots and leaves, they entered the forest. They walked behind them for about 20 minutes, not speaking, listening hard for noises other than breaking twigs and rustling leaves. Then, when the trees had become thicker and thicker, so more that the stars overhead were no longer visible, and Harry's wand shone alone in the sea of dark, they saw their spider guys leading the path. Harry paused, trying to see where the spiders were going, but everything outside his little sphere of light was pitch black. He had never been this deep into the forest before. He could vividly remember Harry advising him not to leave the forest path the last time he had been in here. But Harry was miles away now, probably sitting in a cell in Azkaban, and he had also to follow the spiders. And he had also said to follow the spiders. Something wet touched Harry's hand and jumped backwards, crushing Ron's foot. But there were only friends knows. Do you reckon, Harry said to Ron, whose eyes he could just barely make out, reflecting the light from his wand. We've come this far. So they followed the darting shadows of the spiders into the trees. They couldn't move very quickly now. There were tree roots and stumps in their way, barely visible in the near blackness. Harry could feel Fang's hot breath on his hand. More than once, they had to stop so that Harry could crouch down, find the spiders in the one way. They walked for what seemed like at least half an hour, their robes snagging on low, swung branches and brambles. What the hell is a bramble? Never even heard of that term. Bramble. After a while, they noticed that the ground seemed to be sloping downward. The other trees were as thick as ever. Then Fang suddenly let loose a great echoing bark, making both Harry and Ron jump out of their skins. What? Said Ron loudly, looking around into the pitch dark, gripping Harry's elbow very hard. There's something moving over there, Harry breathed. Listen, it sounds like something big. They listened. Something some distance to their right. Something big was snapping branches and carved a path through the trees. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Shut up! Hear you! Hear me! Said Ron in an unnaturally high voice. It's alright, we're fine! The darkness seemed to be pressing on her eyeballs as they stood, terrified, waiting. There was a strong, rumbling noise, and then silence. What do you think it's doing? What do you think it's doing? Said Harry. Probably get ready to pounce. They waited, shivering, hardly daring to move. Do you think it's gone? Harry whispered. Don't know. Then, to the right, came a sudden blaze of light, so bright in the darkness that both of them flung up their hands to shield their eyes. Ben yelped and tried to run, but got lodged in a tangle of thorns and yelped even louder. Harry! Ron shouted, his voice breaking up too. Harry, it's a car! What? Come on! Harry blundered after Ron toward the light, stumbling and tripping. A moment later, they had emerged into a clearing. Mr. Weasley's car was standing, empty, in the middle of a circle of thick trees under a roof of dense branches. Its headlights ablaze. As Ron walked, open-mouthed, toward it, moved slowly toward him, exactly like a large turquoise dog greeting his owner. It's been here all the time, said Ron delightfully, walking around the car. Look at it. The forest's turned wild. The sides of the car were scratched and smeared with mud. Apparently, it had taken to trundling around the forest on its own. Fang didn't seem at all keen on it. He kept close to Harry. You could feel him quivering. His breath slowing down again. Harry stuffed his wand back into his words. And we thought it was going to attack us. I wondered where it had gone, said Ron leaning against the car battlement. Harry squinted around on the flood-lit ground for signs of more spiders, but they had all scuttled away from the glare of the headlights. We've lost the trail. Come on, let's go find them. That was Harry. Ron didn't speak. Need some water. One second. Excuse me. Ron didn't speak. He didn't move. His eyes were fixed on a point some 10 feet away above the forest floor, right behind Harry. His face was livid with terror. Harry didn't even have time to turn around. There was a loud clicking noise, and suddenly he felt something wrong with Harry. Oh, Harry felt something. Harry did it. Huh? Struggling, terrified, uh, and suddenly he felt something wrong. Harry seized him around the middle and lifts him off the ground, where he was hanging face down. Struggling, terrified, he heard more clicking. Saw Ron's legs leave the ground too, her fangs whooping and howling. Next moment, he was being swept away into the dark trees. Head hanging, Harry saw what had told him of was marching on six legs, immensely long, hairy legs, the front two clutching tightly below a pair of shiny black pincers. Behind him, you could hear another of the creatures in the depth carrying on. They were moving into the very heart of the forest. Harry could hear Fang fighting to free himself from the third monster, whining loudly. But Harry couldn't have yelled even if he had wanted. He seemed to have left his voice back in the cart and within. He never knew how long he was in the creature's clutches. He only knew that the darkness suddenly lifted enough for him to see that the leaf-strewn ground was now swarming with spiders. Craning his neck sideways, he realized that they had reached the ridge of a vast hollow. A hollow that had been cleared of trees, so that the stars shone brightly unto the worst scene he had ever seen. He had ever laid his eyes on. Spiders, not tiny spiders like the surging one of the leaves below, spiders the size of cart horses, eight-eyed, eight-legged, black, hairy-eyed, gigantic. The massive specimen. Oh, there you go. Fucking picture right there. The massive specimen was carrying Harry made it its way down a steep toward a mighty domed web in the very center of the hollow, while its foes closed in all around, clicking their pincers excitedly at the sight of its load. Harry fell to the ground on all fours as the spider released him. Ron Fang thudded down next to him. Fang wasn't howling anymore, but cowering silently on the spot. Ron looked exactly like Harry felt. His mouth was stretched wide in a kind of silent scream, and his eyes were popping. Harry suddenly realized that the spider had dropped him, saying something. It hard to tell, because he clicked his pincers with every word he spoke. "Ella go!" he called. "Ella go!" And from the middle, or "Ella goog, Ella goog," and from the middle of the misto-domed web, a spider the size of a small elephant emerged, very slowly. It was gray in the black of his body and legs. Each of his eyes had on his ugly pin inserted head was milky white. He was blind. "What is it?" he said, clicking his pincers rapidly. "None," clicked the spiders. They clicked ahead like fire. "Is it Hagrid?" said Aragog, moving closer. His eyes, they moved closer, his 8 milky eyes wandering vaguely. "Strangers," clicked the spider head, brought along. "Kill them," clicked Aragog quickly. "I am sleeping," Harry shouted. Oh, fretfully. "We're friends of Hagrid's," Harry shouted. His heart seemed to have left his chest a pounding stir. Click, 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 went the pincers over all the spiders around him and a blur. Then minus 420. Aragog paused. "Hagrid has never sent men into our hollow before," he said slowly. "Hagrid's in trouble," said Harry, breathing very fast. "That's why we've come." "In trouble?" said the aged spider. And Harry thought he heard concern beneath the clicking pencils. "But why has he sent for you?" Hmm. Harry thought of getting to his feet, but decided against it. He didn't think his feet would support him, so he spoke from the ground, as calmly as he could. "They think, up at school, the Hagrid's been setting something on Sirius. They've taken him to Azkaban." Aragorn clicked his pincers furiously, and all around the hollow the sound was echoed by the crowd of spiders. It was like applause, except applause didn't usually make Harry feel sick with it. But that was years ago, said Aragog quickly. Years and years ago, I remember it well. That's why they made him leave us school. They believed me that I was the monster that was in what they call the Chamber of Secrets. They thought Hagrid had opened the chamber and set me free. And you didn't come from the Chamber of Secrets? Said Harry, who could feel the cold sweat on his forehead. I? Said Aragog angrily. I was not born in the castle. I come from a distant land. A traveler gave me to Hagrid when I was an egg. Hagrid was only a boy, and he cared for me. Hidden in a cupboard in the castle, feeding me on scraps from the table. Hagrid is my good friend and a good man. When I discovered, and I blamed when I was discovered, and blamed for the death of the poor girl, he protected me. I have lived in the forest ever since, but Hagrid still visits me. He even found me a wife, most sad. And you see how our family has grown, all through Hagrid's goodness. Harry Summer was a remainder of his courage. So you never attacked anyone? Never. It would have been my instinct, but out of my respect for Hagrid, I never harmed a human. The body of the girl was discovered in the bathroom. I never saw any part of the castle but the cupboard in which I grew up. Our kind, like the dark and the quiet. But then, do you know what did kill that girl? Said Harry. Because whatever it is, it's back and attacking people again. His words were drowned out by a loud outbreak and clicking, and the rustling of many long legs shuffling angrily. Large black shapes shifting all around. The thing that lives in the castle is an ancient creature whose spiders fear above all others. Well do I remember how I pleaded with Hagrid to let me go, when I sensed the beast moving about the school. What is it? Said Harry urgently. More loud clicking, more rustling. The spiders seemed to be closing in. We do not speak of it. We do not name it. I never even told Hagrid the name of the dread creature, though he asked me many times. Harry didn't want to push the subject, not now. Not with the spiders pressing closer on all sides. Aragog seemed to be tired of talking. He was backing away slowly into his domed web. But his fellow spiders continued to inch slowly toward Harry and Ron. We'll just go then, Harry called desperately to Aragog. Eric, hearing leaves rustling behind him. Go? I think not. But my sons and daughters do not harm Hagrid on my command. But I cannot deny them fresh meat when it wanders so willingly into our midst. Goodbye, friend of Hagrid. Harry spun around. Feet away, towering above him, was a solid wall of spiders, clicking, with many eyes gleaming in ugly black heads. Even as he reached for his wand, Harry knew it was no good. There was too many of them. But as he tried to stand, ready to die fighting, a loud, long note sounded, and a blaze of light flamed down from the hollow. Aha! Mr. Weasley's car was thundering down the slope, headlights glaring, his horns screeching, knocking spiders aside. Several were thrown onto their backs. Endless legs waving into the air. The car screeched to a halt in front of Harry and Ron, and the doors flew open. Get bang! Harry yelled, diving himself for a seat. Ron seized the boarhound around the middle, threw him. yelping, to the back of the car. Door slammed shut. Ron didn't touch the accelerator, but the car didn't need him. The engine roared, and they were off, hitting more spiders. They sped up the slope, out of the hollow, and they were soon crashing through the forest. Branches whipping the windows as the car wound its way cleverly through the widest gaps, following a path it obviously knew. Harry looked sideways at Ron. His mouth was still open in a silent scream, but his eyes weren't popping anymore. Are you okay? Ron stared straight ahead, unable to speak. They smashed their way through the undergrowth, Fang howling loudly in the back seat, and Harry saw the side mirror snap off as they squeezed apart a large oak. After 10 noisy, rocky minutes, the trees thinned, and Harry could see patches of sky. And Harry could again see patches of sky. The car stopped so suddenly that they were nearly thrown into the windshield. They had reached the end of the forest. Fang flung himself out the window in his anxiety to get out, and when Harry opened the door, he shot off through the trees at Hagrid's house, tail behind his legs. Harry got out too, and after a minute or so, Ron seemed to regain the feeling in his limbs that followed. Still stiff-necked and staring. Harry gave the car a grateful pat as it reversed back into the forest and disappeared from view. Harry went back into Hagrid's cabin to get the invisibility cloak. Fang was trembling under a basket and in his blanket. When Harry got outside again, he found Ron being violently sick in the pumpkin patch. Follow the spiders, said Ron weakly, wiping his mouth on his puff sleeve. I will never forgive Hagrid. We're lucky to be alive. I bet he thought Hagrid wouldn't hurt friends of his, said Harry. That's exactly Hagrid's problem, said Ron, thumping the wall of the cabin. He always thinks that monsters aren't as dangerous as they're made out. And look what's got him. A cell in Azkaban. He was shivering uncontrollably now. What was the point of sending us in there? What have we found out? I'd like to know. That Harry's never opened the Chamber of Secrets, said Harry, throwing the cloak of Ron, prodding him in the arm to make him walk. He was innocent. Ron gave a loud snort. Evidently, hatching Aragon in cover wasn't his idea of being innocent. As the castle grew near, Harry twitched the cloak to make sure that their feet was hidden, then pushed the creaking front doors ajar. They walked carefully back across the entrance hall and up the marble staircase, holding their breath as they passed corridors where watchful sentries were marked. At last, they were they reached the safety of the Gryffindor common room, where the fire had burned itself into glowing ash. They took off the cloak and climbed the winding stair to their dormitory. Ron fell onto his bed without bothering to get undressed. Harry, however, didn't feel very sleepy. He sat on the edge of his four-poster, thinking about what Aragog had said. Creature that was lurking somewhere in the castle, he thought, sounded like this sort of monster Voldemort. Even now, finding out what it was or how to petrify its victim. But yeah, he didn't want to know closer finding out what it was, or how it petrified its victims. Even Hagrid had never known what was in the Chamber of Secrets. Harry swung his legs up onto his bed and leaned back against his pillows, watching the moon glinting through the tower window. He couldn't see what else they could do. They had hit dead ends everywhere. Riddle had caught the wrong person. The heir of Slytherin had got off, and no one could tell whether it was the same person or a different one who had opened the chamber this time. There was nobody else to ask. Harry lay down, still thinking about what Erudite had said. He was becoming drowsy when what seemed like the very last hope occurred to him. He suddenly sat bolt upright. Ron! He started up. Ron! Ron woke up with a yelp like Ben, staring wildly around. And Harry saw Harry. Ron! That girl who died? Erica said she was found in a bathroom, said Harry, ignoring Noel's snuffling snores in the corner. What if she never left the bathroom? What if she's still there? Ron rubbed his eyes too, frowning through the moonlight. And then he understood too. You lot think not morning motto. Alright, chat. So my voice is tired. I've been reading for almost an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes now. I read 2 chapters for you guys though. And next chapter will be chapter 16, The Chamber of Secrets. Let's see, how many more chapters after that? Alright, so there's only 3 more chapters left. I may just go ahead and finish it tomorrow. Or, whenever the next time I read this. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And make sure you guys have that notification bell ring so you know whenever I go live again. So yeah. Daves-Raves out. Peace.